I found that Meryl Streep, in the workshop I was in, she was in a scene with a guy, and she saw something and picked up a blade of grass and did this as she was doing the scene, which...
Rhomeyn, we love having you here. We love your stories. What makes you great at telling stories?
I come from a long line of storytellers. My grandfather, I got my grandfather's personality, which I got my mother's personality, which came from her father. But one of my uncles, he's been gone a while. He was always the one in the family that was like the one that was telling stories. And then as a kid, I always, was I was always just telling stories and just talking trash, Always, was just my personality, And then the fact that I've had a lot of experience in a lot of things. I've been shot at, I've been stabbed, and all kind of things, So if people ask me about those things, I'm able to speak and I'm able to speak in pictures and make people visualize what I'm saying, And not a lot of people can do that. And it's not anything that I'm just so gifted at or anything. It's just something natural in me, And my sense of humor and I must say, if I'm going to say anything about myself where I'm bragging, I have excellent timing.
Yes, that is true.
I have excellent timing. And I've had people through the years, directors and all kind of people say, your timing is excellent. And that's just something that I've always had. And I'll mention a star from way, way back who had that, Jack Benny.
Okay.
Jack Benny had the most impeccable timing. Bob Hope.
Yeah.
Excellent timing. And that's something that I think you either have it or you don't. I mean, you can develop so much of that, but you either have it or you don't. Because I have friends that are excellent, excellent actors. I mean, brilliant. And can't tell a story, can't really do comedic work like that because they don't have the timing. They tend to skew more towards dramatic, and they are excellent actors.
And did you always have it? To me, it seems like you're okay. You don't fear judgment, so that you're okay being you, and you're okay telling a story, no matter how outlandish. Did you always have this?
Well, yeah, I think I've always had it. But see, like most people in life anyway, coming up as kids, they teased you. Everybody got teased about something. And I tended to find that my sense of humor and the fact that I was able to tell stories made them like me and tease me less. Because every kid gets teased. I mean, all of us. It's something, kids are so honest to a fault. When we get to be grown, we think same thing, but we know through manners and etiquette not to say things, or we try not to. I know adults that are totally obnoxious because they have not learned to filter themselves from their childhood. People tend to, not grow out of that childhood thing of wanting to point something out about you that's wrong. Look at you, no.
Well, it's a way to take someone's power away too.
Right.
And then you get this upper hand. So it's also, I think people do it and they say, well, I have no filter, whatever. But I think they know that they're going to wound somebody or they're going to get one over on them. Yeah.
Well, you see, I've never been that type of person or intentionally been that type of person. But like I said, about being a storyteller, I've always done that. I mean, as a kid, we played to dozens, which were being an athlete, especially being an athlete. locker room humor, you know.
Oh, okay.
Telling jokes and talking trash and talking silly and everything. I grew up in that. I played sports from 9, 10 years old all the way through college. You know, I played all the way through. So you end up, learning and having a facility for things like that. You know, and then it's just about just being able to observe. I'm a very observant person. I mean, people don't think I am because a lot of times I'm just either, sleep or I'm not paying attention. They think. But I don't miss anything. And being an actor, you can't miss anything. You have to observe. And I took a workshop years ago, and they had an interview with Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep is the foremost actor to me. I mean, and there's, of course, many, many great actors. But I found that Meryl Streep, in the workshop I was in, she was in a scene with a guy, and she saw something and picked up a blade of grass and did this as she was doing the scene, which, whether she did it purposely or whatever, through her technique or whatever, it just shifted all the focus from the other person in the scene to her as she talked about something totally unrelated to the blade of grass. It forced that. Spencer Tracy, I found in a workshop, they had a thing about Spencer Tracy, one of the greatest actors of all time. Spencer Tracy did a scene with a guy, and he had his head down like this, and he delivered his lines like this, and the actor was standing over him. Okay, you would assume that the actor standing over him was in more of a powerful position by him being in a more dominant position. When you're seated, that's not dominant as when you're standing over somebody. That's a dominant position. But Spencer Tracy did this and delivered his lines, like had a hat on and did his lines like this. And the other actor who talked about it laughed. He says, "That son of a gun stole the scene. I'm working and doing this, and he's like this, and he stole the scene." And you're not trying to steal, but it's just knowing your stuff, you know. And like I say, Meryl Streep, Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando might be the greatest actor to me, possibly of all time. And when he did Streetcar Named, no, not that one, but he did On the Waterfront. You seen one On the Waterfront?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The scene with Eva Marie Saint, where he has the glove. He takes her glove. And he's doing this and messing with her glove, and he's putting the glove like this on. And he's in the scene with her, and she talked about it. Years later, she says, "Here I am, this beautiful, beautiful woman in a scene. It's a romantic scene, but he's doing this with the glove." And symbolically, what it meant was they're going to fit together. See, it's things like that, you know, that I don't use all the time. I try to use them, but a lot of times they don't come to you. But it's just little things like that take you beyond just being a regular person, or even when you're telling a story, you know, you're doing this, and, you know, you take a moment, and people are just like, you know, it's just that kind of thing, you know.
Right. What are the fundamentals of telling a good story?
Okay, having a beginning, a middle, and an end, and knowing when to shut up. That's it. That's really it.
Can you tell with certain audiences that you should cut it short or keep going? I know you talked about walking into a room of an audition. Sometimes you can tell automatically they love you, vice versa.
Well, you could, you know, it's a psychic connection or whatever. You can feel people, you know, you can feel when somebody doesn't like you, even if they don't say anything. You could just feel it, even if they're not doing this or anything. They could even be smiling at you like this, and you could still pick up that something intuitive or psychic or whatever, you could pick it up. Then, like I say, you can walk into a room where people are sitting back like this, and they love you. as opposed to, hi, hey, got you, they don't like you at all.
What makes a story unsatisfying?
When you say unsatisfying, you mean like...
Well, maybe the listener will tune out. Maybe it's just not, it's not grabbing people and you can tell you're losing your audience.
Well, that's what the problem is the story is not satisfying. What you're talking about is not of interest, or you're not conveying it well. And it's usually a combination of the two. They don't want to hear what you're saying because they're not interested in it, and you're not bringing it across. So, and that happens a lot of times when you audition for stuff where you got a script where, you're saying the words, but you're not connecting to it. See, when you connect to something, then you're able to bring something to it and able to have the audience connect to you when you're connected to the material. Sometimes you're not connected because you're just not feeling it, or you just don't understand the material. That happens. Or you just, it's just one of those things.